So we've gotten pretty comfortable at delegating tasks to our AI coding agents like Claude Code in our terminal or an IDE like Cursor. But what about when you're away from your desk, or if you want to kick off a big complex build before you leave for the day and you just want to come back in the morning and find it done? That's where cloud-based background agents come in. And right now we've got 3 major players who are offering pretty good options for running coding agents in the cloud. We've got Claude Code on the web, we've got Cursor's background agents, and we have OpenAI's Codex on the web. Now, on the surface, all 3 of these tools are pretty similar. They all spin up a cloud environment, they connect to your GitHub repository, and then they create their own branch, and eventually they'll submit a pull request. So the basic mechanics are the same. But where they differ, and this is what actually matters, is the workflow. So how do you actually initiate a new task with a cloud agent? How do you monitor its progress? How do you check it out on your mobile device? Or how do you wrap things up when it's done? The interface and the workflow varies quite a bit between Claude Code on the web, Cursor background agents, and Codex on the web. So in this video, I'm not just comparing whether they can complete a feature in the background. That's table stakes. I want to show you what it actually feels like to use each one of these tools day to day. Because that workflow experience, that's what determines whether you'll actually reach for one of these cloud background agent tools or just stick with your local setup. Now, if you're serious about staying ahead of the curve when it comes to building with AI, and I mean actually building, not just following the hype, then I want you to read my Builder Briefing. That's a 5-minute read that I send every Friday. No fluff, just practical notes on what's working right now in AI first development. You can get yours by going to buildermethods.com. And subscribers are always the first to know about my next live workshop where we talk about what's working right now when building with AI. All right, so to give these 3 different cloud agent systems a really good go at it, I want to make an update to my Builder Methods application and my website, specifically on the workshops area. So I run these live workshops on building with AI. I do these about once a month. And currently it's just a really simple index view, which just has a list of the workshops. Sometimes they're upcoming in the future, sometimes they're in the past. And then it links to the page where you can either purchase a ticket, or if you're a Builder Methods Pro member, then you get complimentary access to all past and future workshops. But I want to improve this layout. I want to give them nice thumbnails here. I want to be able to filter by which workshops are upcoming in the future and which ones are in the past, and just have recordings available. And I've also designed some new thumbnails that I want to, display on each of these workshops, kind of like that one. And the nice thing is that I've already designed a section of the site that has this layout that I'm going for. So this is our video library, which has, a bunch of videos, and it's a grid layout, or you can toggle to a list layout like that, and the system will remember your layout. And then you can also filter by topics. And here in this case, the person viewing is not a logged in Builder Methods Pro member. So we show this call out that points to that. But if I do log in and then I go to library, we have the same grid layout here with the list view, but instead of the call out, now we have some filters. So I can see like which videos I have recently viewed, and I can see which videos I'm adding to my list, and so on. So I want to actually reuse this same layout, the grid and the list view toggle. And I also want to establish a topics filter for workshops. And then I also want to have a filter so that users can easily see which workshops are coming in the future and which ones are in the past. So to do this, we're going to run this in Claude Code on the web. We're also going to run a background agent in Cursor, and I'm going to use Codex on the web. And I'm going to sort of compare all 3 of these, and I'll give you my impressions all the way through this process. So before I start to kick it off, I want to show you the prompt that I'm going to be using. And as you can see, it's a pretty long one, and it includes most of what I just described. And this is what I typically do. I will draft a prompt in detail. I'm giving it very specific instruction on which files and patterns and interfaces and components that I've already established in this interface for browsing the library. So hopefully the agents will reuse a lot of that code and that interface. Okay, so let's kick this off. I'm going to start with Claude Code on the web. And what I like about it off the bat is that this seems to be like the closest to the Claude Code CLI experience. It really feels like just a web version of the same experience. It's very consistent. Okay, so now first thing, you will need to connect your GitHub repository for your project, and I've already done that for my Builder Methods project. Also in Claude Code, you can select which model. For smaller things, I would probably go with Haiku, but this is a somewhat larger piece, so I'm going to use the Sonnet 4.5 model. That's sort of my go-to these days on most things. I use that and Cursor's Composer model, which I'll show you in just a minute. So I'm going to take my long prompt and I'm just going to drop it right in here, and we're going to kick this off. Okay, so Claude is getting to work, and I can already see it's updating live on my iPhone through the Claude mobile app. So that's nice, and it all looks really consistent between the two. It actually seems to be happening in sync. So I could see, like, if I were out or traveling or something and I want to kick off a new task, like it's all right here. So that's really cool. So that's working. Now let's go ahead and get a Cursor agent up and running. So this one I'm really interested in using because I use Cursor every day as my IDE. So here I am in the web interface. Now, Cursor, as far as I know, I don't believe they have an actual mobile app the way that Claude does and ChatGPT does with Codex. But Cursor.com, I find, actually is totally usable on the mobile web. It's totally responsive. It's actually a really good interface. So I've been pretty happy with it in both cases. So I'm going to go ahead and, so I'm here in the web interface. I'm going to, I've already started up a new agent here. Once again, you also need to connect your GitHub repository, which I've already done here for Builder Methods. It's the same repo that I'm working in. This indicates that we're going to be branching off of the main branch. I think there was a similar, you know what? I'm not sure if Claude Code even had that selection. There might be a setting for it somewhere, but yeah, so this is specifying that I am branching off of main, and then we can select the model. So I am going to use Cursor's Composer 1 model, which is their new model. I did an entire video here on the channel last week covering Cursor 2.0 and the new Composer model, which I'm super impressed with. It's incredibly fast, and it's also really accurate, and I find it's almost as good as Sonnet 4.5 in most cases. The other cool thing about Cursor 2.0, and you can do this through their web background agents, is you can actually run multiple different agents and even run multiple instances of them, multiply them. We're not going to do that here. I've used enough token usage in my Cursor account this month, but I'm going to stick with Composer 1, and I'm going to give it that prompt. And I bet that even though I'm starting this way later than the Claude Code agent, I bet this is going to finish even faster because Composer is just lightning fast. Okay, so Composer model using Cursor is off and running, and I can see that here in the web interface, and I'm going to check it out on mobile by going to cursor.com. And there it is. It's already there. I'll show this on screen. It's got a pretty nice mobile interface that I can easily use using, like mobile Safari or mobile Chrome or something like that. Now, what I'm also interested to see is how does this work if I click open in Cursor, because I am a Cursor user. Cursor is my IDE. So if I am sitting here in the office, I'm going to click open in Cursor. And here it is. It's actually showing me the cloud agent here in the in Cursor agent. And I can see down here, it indicates this little icon means that I'm looking at the cloud agent, not a local agent. And if I go into my agents list in agents view, again, I'm seeing that agent here in the middle. And I'm also seeing that agent in this in progress section here in Cursor. So I really do like that integration. I can jump, straight from the web interface right into Cursor, which is right here on my computer, and I can see it all happening right there. So that's really nice. Okay, let's go over to Codex. This is linked right off of my ChatGPT account. Once again, you do need to connect your GitHub repository, but I found that Codex sort of tripped me up a little bit because in addition to connecting your repo, you also need to connect what they call an environment. And all three of these are technically creating a cloud environment where it's running your application in the cloud on their servers, not on your local machine, right? Codex is a little bit more explicit about that. And this is what tripped me up because you can connect, I think, multiple repositories into a single environment. And I had accidentally connected my Builder Methods repo to a different environment that I had been working on a few months ago, and that sort of tripped it up. So I had to both create a repo, like connect my repo and create the environment in Codex. So I did that. Something to be aware of if it might trip you up. So in Codex, I can also run, they call them versions. This is like running multiple agents. So that's kind of cool. You can try out different takes on the same build, similar to what you can do with Cursor right now. It is giving me the option on which branch I want to branch off of, because all three of these are going to create a new branch. The question is, where are we branching off of? I'm going to branch off of the main branch. So that's fine. One thing that I'm not seeing, maybe I'm missing it somewhere, but I can't actually select the model. I'm assuming that this is going to be GPT-5, and it might be, or it probably is their GPT-5 Codex flavored model. And that's, what is typically used with Codex CLI. And I have a separate video doing a deep dive on that as well. So I don't see the model selector. That's a little bit strange to me. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and copy my prompt into here, and let's kick this off as well. So I see my task here at the top of my list, and I can click into it, and I can see it is spinning up the environment. This is sort of like, a look at the terminal there. Let's see if I click view log. Now we're going to sort of like zero in. I think it's just spinning it up right now, so it's just getting started. We're going to check in on the progress as it goes along, but I'm also going to open up my ChatGPT mobile app, and I'm going to go to Codex, and I do see it right here. So here it is at the top. And I can see the progress. So all three of these are working, although Composer is already done, and I'm not surprised by that. And we're going to review all of its work here in just a minute, but let's wait for all three of them to be finished. It looks like Sonnet 4.5 with Claude Code on the web. It's about halfway through its to-dos. So yeah, I'm gonna pause here, and I'm gonna come right back when all three agents are done, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so it looks like all three agents are now complete. Let's take a look at Claude Code first. And so we can see that all of the to-dos are finished, and it gave me the typical summary for a Claude Code task. And it's all set here in Cursor with Composer. So here's the finished work there. And then over in Codex, here is the summary here. I can see that it worked for 11 minutes. So Claude Code probably took about 12, 13 minutes. I guess Codex took about 11 minutes, and Composer, I don't have a time on this, but it was done in like 2 minutes, something like that. Now, let me just compare what the experience is after the agent has finished their work and kind of reviewing the work. There are a few slight differences between the three tools here. So with Claude Code, I see here that this is the branch, and I just copied that to the clipboard. And that's really nice because I can just, pull that down and check it out. And I'm going to do that here in just a second. It does have a link here to create a PR, but Claude Code doesn't automatically create a PR, which is a little bit weird. I kind of wish it would just create it. I don't know why it doesn't. But one of the really cool things of Claude Code on the web is this button. I can click Open in CLI, and I'm going to click that, and then it's going to copy a command to my clipboard. So then I can go I'm going to go into editor mode in Cursor. And instead of just running Claude, I'm going to paste that in. So here I am going to run Claude, but it's going to add this flag for teleport and then this session ID. So I'm going to run that. And so that is going to start up Claude Code, and it's going to pull in the entire session. All of the agent's work, all the history here is automatically pulled in, which is really pretty cool. And then the other thing that I noticed is that in addition to that, it also automatically opened or pulled this branch and checked it out. So the thing with background agents, or really any agents for that matter, is of course we can review their code. Of course we can do a pull request and do a code review there. But what's always most important to me is to actually run the server and check it out in the browser and check out the user experience of the product that I'm building, right? So here I have it checked out. We're going to check the work that Claude Code did in the browser. I'm going to run the server, and I bet there's going to be some migrations that are pending. Yeah. So we're going to need to run those. Okay, so I'm here on my local machine now, and I'm going to go down to resources. I'm going to go to workshops. And all right, so here is the workshops index view. Now I have not uploaded my thumbnail images yet, so it looks like these are like temporary placeholders when there's not a thumbnail for the workshop. So that's pretty good. This is exactly according to my prompt that I gave it. So this is really looking good so far. I can toggle between the list view and the and the grid view, and it should remember my preference there when I refresh the page, and it does. So that's pretty cool. And then I have this toggle switch. Now, I actually already have a toggle switch component, and this looks a little bit off from that. Functionally, it works, but it didn't actually use the right toggle switch. All right, so topics. Now, I haven't actually created any workshop topics yet. So let's go ahead and check out the admin interface. This is the workshops area. Okay, so I've created some workshop topics or workshop tags, and then I can go into each workshop now. And nice, I have my topic and tag interface here. So this interface is a little bit buggy, but again, it's just for me to use, and it functionally works. So that's good enough for me. Okay, so now I have some topics in the system and I can filter them like that. Okay, we've got a little error here that I'll need to get worked out. And I can fix that later. I just want to move on with the video here and compare the other two agents' work here. So overall, I'm actually pretty happy with the work that Claude Code and Sonnet 4.5 did here. I do have some cleanup, some errors to fix. Oh, one more thing I wanted to check actually, and that is the workshops view when I'm logged out. And good, it shows this call to action for Builder Methods Pro because if you're a pro member, you get complimentary access to all the workshops. Whereas if you're not, then you can, purchase a ticket to any individual workshop. So that's why I wanted to have this call out here. Okay, so let me sort of backtrack, and we're going to shift over to the work that Cursor did, the Cursor background agent with the Composer One model. So in order to do this, since there was a database migration, and I need to get the database back to its previous state, Rails DB rollback. This is just a Ruby on Rails thing here, of course. And now I'm going to go back to main, and we should be back to our original state. And yeah, we are. So this is how we started off before the agents did any of their work. This is sort of like the boring index view for workshops. So now let's go to Cursor. I'm looking at the Cursor web interface here. Now, Cursor, unlike Claude Code and unlike Codex, it does automatically, immediately create a PR. And I could just click this button, and that's going to open up the pull request in GitHub, and I can view it here. This comment, it looks like it's from me, but it was actually written by the agent. Before I merge it in, even if I review the code, I always want to check it in the browser. And by the way, also in Cursor itself, I can open this agent and it shows me all the history here. Looks like it's a little bit different if I go between editor mode and agents mode. So when I'm in agents mode, I can actually see I don't know what this review button does. Let's see. Okay, so that basically just opens up all the files that were changed. But this one is also a link to the PR, and I can check out the branch. You can use Cursor's interface for checking out the branch, but actually I'm going to use my own alias for doing this. So I'm just going to grab this branch name, and I have an alias that fetches a branch off of GitHub and then checks it out and switches to that branch automatically. I guess that Cursor, their interface here would probably do the same, but it's just part of my muscle memory and it's like a workflow that I trust that always works the way that I want it to work. And I think that's just really important in general when we're tweaking and we're trying out new tools in our workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and do my alias for this, and I'm going to paste that branch name in here. And so, okay, so now I've just checked it out. We're good to go. I'm going to run this server. And again, we're probably going to run into those migrations, but just to make sure, let's see how Composer One did from Cursor. Here we are. All right, it looks pretty good. So here are our 4 workshops, and it has my toggle UI all set up. The nice thing is that I've already designed this same UI before, so it just reused a lot of the same logic. So it did that really well. Here is the toggle switch, and that one actually works a lot better than the one that Claude Code created. So that's interesting. I'll go back to workshops, and I will apply some tags. Interestingly, this interface works much better than the one that Claude Code did. So that's another data point that makes me think I might keep the Composer work instead of the Claude Code work on this one. So that's looking good. But overall, I'm actually very happy with the work that the Composer model from Cursor did. And it did it so much faster than the other two did. Okay, but for now, let's backtrack again and let's check out the work from Codex and GPT-5 from OpenAI. So we're going to do the same thing again. Okay, so let's go over to Codex. Again, Codex does not automatically create a pull request in GitHub. In order to do that, you'll need to click this button, Create PR. And then we can click View PR. All right, so now I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab the branch name that Codex had created in my system, and I'm going to fetch that and switch to it. I'm going to run my server. I'm guessing, once again, we're going to have some pending migrations. We're going to run those, and let's check out the workshops index view. And yeah, this one has a little issue here. So let's go ahead and let's at least get this working, right? Let's see if Composer can fix this issue. So now we have the Composer model fixing the work of GPT-5 with Codex. Okay, all fixed up. Okay, so this one looks pretty good as well. We've got our list mode and the grid mode. This one has the thumbnail. This one is coming up in the future, and the rest of these are in the past. I would want to actually look into this time zone issue here. And then we've got the upcoming toggle switch, which seems to be working just fine. So that's good. Let's go ahead and check this out. And this one works just fine. Cool. All right, let's look at this in another browser, and it got the call to action to join Builder Methods Pro. That's all looking good. And here is the link that points to the page to get a ticket. Good. All right. So I would say, like, overall, I was most impressed with the Cursor, both the Cursor experience with running background agents, but also the work that the Composer model did. They were all very similar. They all mostly finished the feature pretty well. I'm a bit surprised that Claude Code and Sonnet 4.5 didn't quite hit the mark on this one, even though that's typically the best performer of the three. But you know, it really is different from one feature to the next. It's kind of an interesting time. So I hope you found this comparison helpful as you look at different tools for running cloud coding agents. As you saw in the video, I kind of like Claude Code since I use that quite a bit. Claude Code on the web is pretty impressive. But in my experience right now, I'm sort of leaning toward the Cursor background agent workflow, especially since I use Cursor every day as my daily driver, as my IDE. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, Cursor 2.0 recently dropped along with the Composer model, which I demoed in this video. I did a deep dive into Cursor 2.0 and the Composer model, specifically the two features that have actually completely changed how I work day to day. So right after you hit subscribe on this channel, I'll see you over there next. Let's keep building.